Good evening, everybody. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to thank VRSI for this opportunity. Dr. Unni has laid the groundwork for me, and I'll be taking it further by talking on Octa in AMD and PCV. Why do we need Octa at all? It is a good alternative to conventional dye angiography because in FFA, the CNVM is poorly delineated, especially when there's fluid, hemorrhage, pigment, RP detachment, or fibrosis. With Octa, the CNVM patterns are distinct and well delineated, and the neovascularization can be seen beautifully even when it is under the RPE. In future, it is definitely felt that Octa could help tailored and customized treatment regimens, and this is something we look forward to in the future. So here you see the beautiful patterns, the Medusa head, the sea fan, and the prune tree pattern, which have been detected in Octa. And these have got very beautiful names, and you can see these are some of our patients. And you can see the Medusa head because of how it looks, and the sea fan and glomerulus named after kidney glomeruli. And these are terminologies which are in vogue for the CNVMs, which are seen on Octa. When you are confronted with the Octa for CNVM, what should you look at? What is there to see? You have to look at the morphology, the capillary density, the branches, whether loops are present, and the thickness of the vessels. Are the vessels thick or thin? And with this background, it's been found to be extremely useful in various subtypes of AMD. In type 1 or occult, where the membrane lies under the RP, in type 2 or classic or subretinal, where the membrane is subretinal, type 3 or RAP, which is the intraretinal type, or in PCV. So these are what we're going to study now, one by one in detail. So you can see beautifully the network seen under the RP in the type 1 CNVM. And here you can see how vast, so one of the fellows did this for us, and you can see how vast the network is actually. And if you see the B scan of the OCT, it does not look this significant, but you can see how vast the Octa is and how nicely the network is being picked up by the OCTA in this case. So let's see how it's useful in an actual case, and where in a case which it actually helped us. So this was a 64-year-old gentleman with distortion in both eyes. And you can see with the red arrows, there was some fluid, but not much of any CNVM seen on the normal B scan. This was in 2015. So we did the routine angiography and we thought it looks very like a CNVM. We're not sure, but of course there was a history of CSR. So we gave anti-VEGF, but you can see the serial OCT. There's no change in the fluid post 3 anti-VEGF injections. And this led us to a very disappointed patient and a disappointed doctor. We are wondering when we looked at these OCTs, were we missing something? The fluid is just not going away. Is the diagnosis wrong? Or is there something else that we missed? And luckily then Octa came to our rescue. And now you see on the Swepso Octa how beautifully you can see these capillary loops and these vascular, the membrane underneath can actually be seen. And this is when we realized we were on the right track. Of course, that was a time when we measured the choroidal thickness and found extremely thick choroid. And we switched the anti-VEGF, and you can see now how well the patient had responded. And for the first time, we are having a dry macula in both the eyes. And this is where Octa really helped us. So also now we move on to type 2 CNVM. Type 2 are the ones which are below the retina. And you can see how beautifully it is seen. The membrane is seen compared to traditional imaging using the Octa. And here's another case where you can see the membrane beautifully lying spindle shaped just below the retina. And this is a short video. So like Dr. Unni said, you should always be aware of artifacts. So the way to make sure you're not seeing an artifact, seeing is believing, look at the video yourself. And on the right side of your screen, you can keep looking. The section is going down and you can see how beautifully the membrane is delineated on the video of the Octa. So several authors have studied the characteristics of type 1 and type 2 CNV, and they find that type 1 are larger, less demarcated compared to type 2. Type 2 are smaller, and they of course extend towards the outer retina, and higher flow indices have been seen with the larger types and also with the type 2 CNV. We move on to RAP, which is type 3, and you can see a case of RAP, and this hemorrhage here, this red colored dot is a clue that it's a RAP lesion. And you can see the hotspot beautifully on the ICG angiography. And you can see the intraretinal tissue here on the structural B scan. And then how does the OCTA help us? OCTA or Octa is excellent for this because the retinal anastomosis from the DCP is well delineated and the tough shaped high flow network is seen. And you can see this beautiful flow in the scan below, and you can see this anastomosis above. So this is type 3 is also something where we find it very useful to do Octa. So we move on to PCV. Now, in the previous talk by Dr. Unni, we were told that if the flow is too high and too low, it's both a disadvantage. And if you have very, very fast flow. So this is why people used to say that in polyps, because some people felt it was turbulent, some people feel it's slow. So you may not be able to see. But I think nowadays with some of the newer instrumentation, you need to spend a lot of time. And that's when you are able to actually see the actual polyps and the BVN well on the Octa. And of course, the edema and hemorrhage kind of makes it difficult to do so. But the important thing is to spend time, go through each image, delineate it, and you'll be able to find out. So here we can see a polyps, and you can see polyps here, and you can see the BVN nicely on the Octa. And of course, the one thing you must remember is the ICG shows, this is the IC which shows the polyps better, but the Octa shows the BVN much better. And this is one of our cases. It's another case, which is a peripapillary PCV. And this is the optic nerve is on the side, but you can see how beautifully the BVN is seen. And you can see the corresponding B scan underneath with the polyp underneath. Extrafoveal polyps with a large BVN. So here you can see the multimodal imaging, and you can see the lovely polyps on the ICG and how beautifully the BVN is captured on the Octa. And this is the raised B scan underneath, showing the flow in the polyps underneath. Of course, this is a corresponding multicolor imaging on the side. Again, you can see in this picture, the blue arrow is showing how the beautiful BVN, and the polyps are delineated by the yellow colored arrowheads on the left. PHCR, which is one of my favorite disease entities, and we try to spend some time on these images. And you can see actually this is the corresponding Octa, which corresponds to the FFA and to the B scan. And you can make out these little polyps here. So although it's said you can't see, but I mean, if you spend time, I think certain cases you are able to kind of make out polyps on Octa. So we move, how does it help treatment? So how does it, what happens when you give anti-VEGF to a patient, to a CNVM? And there are a lot of studies. There was a theory by Dr. Richard Spade and other authors also. And they have shown this, the morphology, and this depicts the activity of finer vessels and anastomosis in branches. And once you give an anti-VEGF on the Octa, you find that there's marked regression of these anastomosis and the capillaries, and they all drop out. But there is always recanalization, and you must remember the thicker vessels are not affected by anti-VEGF because they're surrounded by pericytes. So this is what you have to keep in mind, that these are not going to go away. So that doesn't mean we stop treatment. We have to keep on continuing the therapy, but you have to be aware of the morphology of the CNVM on Octa and continue our therapy. So these are some cases. This is just regression. This is, you can see the membrane is still there, but how much less it is now looking. And this has just been taken 6 days after an anti-VEGF injection. This is another patient of ours who maintained good response after the 3 loading doses and was stable for 5 years. And the medusa head is seen beautifully on the Octa on the right side. This is an interesting case which had both a type 1 and a type 2 CNVM. And you can see the regression of the type 2, the one above, but the one below, the type 1 part still persists underneath. So this is something we need to remember and not get disheartened by when we see this. This is this is one of those patients with the peripheral polyps, and you can see how beautifully it's depicted. And this is matched beautifully by the OCT B scan where the fluid has gone down post anti-VEGF therapy. So now comes the question is, can there be a neovascular membrane in non-exudative AMD? And this is the work, phenomenal work of Dr. Rosenfeld and colleagues who studied eyes with asymptomatic intermediate non-exudative AMD. And they found that on ICG, a plaque was seen in 3 eyes with no evidence of anything on the FFA OCT. And the swept source OCTA showed the blood flow in cases which they thought were actually drusen. So you can see beautifully, this is what they thought were drusen. And when they did the swept source, they actually found this So the membrane underneath, and a beautiful membrane, in fact. So when we see such studies, some questions arise that should these lesions be treated at all? Should we treat such lesions? Could they, because they could be, of course, precursors of a more aggravating form, and of course warrant a closer follow-up. And other thing is that could they be providing nutritional support for the underlying RP and photoreceptors? And are they in fact preventing macular atrophy? So this is another take on this thing. So I think there's no answer to this yet. We have to study it more. And I would like to conclude that you see beautiful patterns on Octa in CNVM. You can find these non-exudative subclinical CNVMs, the significance of which is not fully known at this time, but of course they warrant closer follow-up. And future treatment algorithms could be based on morphological response to therapy. So the current practicality and utility of these patterns is open for our panel for discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.